Do you remember when we first found out about Dynamax Pokemon and everyone was like, whoa, how are they gonna port this over to the Pokemon TCG? Like, what are they gonna make, giant Pokemon cards or something like that? It's not a joke. It's not a joke anymore. Welcome back to my channel, my little 𝗙𝗵𝗱. Today we're going to be talking about 𝗵𝗲𝗿𝗲, the new mechanic that Pokemon just revealed, and it's very interesting. It's not something that has ever been done in Pokemon before, so you could say it's pretty big Pokemon card news. Get it? I know that everybody's chomping at the bit here to know my opinions on these cards, and I'm just gonna say I will not be reading through these cards individually. There are plenty of YouTube channels that have already done this, and you can actually just click the link in the description and check these babies out yourself. I kind of want to discuss more of the whole picture of these cards, what this potentially means for the Pokemon TCG, and how I view this new mechanic and what's coming up for it. Let's do it! So first of all, I've kind of been creeping in all of your windows, and by windows I mean all of your social media pages. I kind of wanted to sit back and see what the initial response was from Pokemon peeps, including you all, and terrible Yu-Gi-Oh memes aside. It wasn't too great. I really wasn't too surprised by this. I think it's very common for people to be a little bit scared of change, a little bit, you know, hesitant of something new. This is coming from someone who's ordered literally the same meal at every restaurant I go to for like the past 5 billion years, so feel ya on that one. I also feel like it's way more common for you to see a bunch of edgelords online when something new is released. People are pretty critical of it. It's kind of like a groupthink thing, instead of people being like, you know what? I could see myself using this. Like, I kind of dig it. Like, that's not that bad. People are like,
whoever created this needs to go to prison, and if you like this, you should block me or ban me or unfollow me, and I'm gonna banish you to the Shadow Realm.
That's like super common online nowadays. Pokemon, you had this coming. These cards are very meme like. It's kind of a silly thing when you look at it. You're like, oh, so I'm putting pieces of a Pokemon together, like Frankenstein creating some sort of monstrosity. Okay, seems kinda creepy, but alright. Like, the way I found out about this, Taka woke me up and was like, boo, there's new Pokemon news. They announced what V-Union was. And then he told me what it was, and I was like, you're joking me. Like, you're kidding me. I was actually genuinely mad that he woke me up because I thought he was just using this to get me out of bed because I'm an absolute zombie in the morning, and every time he tries to wake me up, I'm just like, meh. And then he showed me and I was just like, what? So, if you are one of those people that's like, this looks kind of weird, I don't know if I'm into that sort of thing, I don't blame you. But let's actually dive into this mechanic, how it works, and how it is going to look as well. This right here is the size of a normal playmat, or a usual playmat. It's gonna be about this size. I have a playmat, it's a dual playmat underneath this. It's slimmer and it's wider, but I'm using this as an example because it outlines how a board state is actually laid out. So, we have our active Pokemon, would be there. We have our deck, would be right here. We have our discard pile, would be right there. We have a couple of Pokemon on the bench, and then of course we have our 6 prize cards over here. So this is what a Pokemon board would look like. Now, a V-Union card is 4 Pokemon cards pieced together. The only way for you to get that V-Union card onto your board state is when all 4 of those pieces of the Pokemon hit your discard pile or get into your discard pile. You can then take them out of the discard pile and place them on to your bench. So let's see what that actually looks like. So I have 2 cards here, and here's 2 cards as well. So let's just say this is our V-Union Pokemon. It's in the discard pile. We take out all the pieces of it, and we're just gonna Frankenstein it here together on our bench, just for size reference. Let's see how large this actually is. So this is what it's going to look like on your bench. Oh my god. So we have had jumbo promo cards. This is an example of one of those. This is the Sword and Shield jumbo cards, but the Sun and Moon jumbo cards actually used to be larger than this. They were slightly bigger than these ones. They made them a little bit smaller. So we're going to be going with the Sun and Moon, or sorry, the Sword and Shield jumbo card here for size reference. So I've learned that the V-Union cards are slightly smaller than the jumbo cards. Not by much, but they are smaller indeed from the jumbo cards. So it's not technically playing a jumbo card onto your bench, but like barely. It is just slightly smaller on both sides than a jumbo card. So pretend that those little sidebars aren't there. This is essentially what it's gonna look like playing a V-Union card on your bench. I've also seen a couple of people wondering how are they going to put this into PTCGO, which is the online format of Pokemon TCG. I personally am going to guess that there's going to be some sort of animation when you pull the cards out of your deck and it's going to like form them together into one Pokemon or something. But I think when it's actually on your bench, it's just going to be one card. Like, I don't think it's going to show a jumbo version of it. I think it's just going to combine the pieces, put it on your bench, and you're just going to see that one card with the moves on it. Or maybe when you click it, you'll see them in corners or something. Honestly, I have no idea, but I can't imagine them having a jumbo card on the bench in PTCGO, so I feel like they're going to size it down, but then when you click it, maybe it'll make it big. Or something like that. That's my guess. So, V-Union Pokemon do look to have a rule box, and what a rule box is pretty much stating how many prize cards a card is worth. A regular Pokemon does not have a rule box because it is worth 1 prize card if it is knocked out. Vs and VMAXs have rule boxes. A V is 2 prize cards, and a VMAX, if knocked out, is 3 prize cards. V-Unions will not be 4 prize cards. They will also be 3 prize cards, just like a VMAX. So my first thought when seeing these cards was, these look absolutely terrible. I love Pokemon art so much. I love referencing cards and being like, yo, check out this artwork. It's absolutely amazing. I think it's kind of lame. We're going to have to be like, oh, stay right here, hold up. Let me go grab my Greninja crotch from my binder real quick so I can slap it on and complete this picture for you to see the artwork in its entirety. I think that's kind of lame. I don't really like it. Now, thankfully, I am not only a Pokemon collector, but I am a Pokemon TCG player, so I can have a totally different view on these cards outside of the aesthetic of them, which generally I'm not a huge fan of, personally. The huge reaction I saw primarily online was saying that these cards are too complicated, they're too difficult to play, they're too gimmicky, you know, the usual, which I completely understand. In contrast to what we've been dealing with the last couple of years in Pokemon, these are very, very different cards. This is a different dynamic completely to what we've been dealing with. But on the flip side of that, I'm also like, wait a second. Isn't this what we've been asking for? Because in current format and last format, everyone was absolutely raging about tag teams. They completely dominated the meta. The fact that you could quick ball out a basic Pokemon, start attaching energy to it, it did not take up a lot of cards in your deck. You only needed to play 2 or 3 of them. It almost had 300 HP on them. The moves were absolutely disgusting on them. It pretty much wiped out evolution decks. Like, everyone is upset. That is way too easy. There's a huge power creep in HP and damage on these cards that are way too accessible, and it has completely changed the format into a super big bulky basic battling big bulky basic type of dynamic. Now the unions are not that. I mean, it does have 300 HP, 300 plus HP potentially. It does have multiple moves that you get to choose from. It does have multiple abilities, all of which you can play in one turn if you want to. So they do seem very powerful and very meta-changing Pokemon. But there is a trade-off. You can't just quick ball out a V-Union. You have to, first of all, you can only play one of each in your deck. So you can only have like one Zacian V-Union. You can't have multiple Zacian V-Union. And then in order to play a V-Union, it requires 4 deck slots. So unlike a tag team that was like you play 2 or 3 copies of them, V-Union is 4 copies because you have each piece of that one Pokemon. Now, it's not like running a normal Pokemon or an evolution Pokemon where you play a 3-3 line or a 4-4 line of that Pokemon, and then if you prize 2, well, there's still 2 left in deck, and maybe you'll pick one out of the prizes. This is 4 pieces of one Pokemon. So if you prize any pieces of that Pokemon and you cannot discard it, you have to retrieve that piece from your prize cards before you're able to discard it and play that V-Union to bench. And it is very likely you are going to prize at least 1 piece quite often. On top of this, you are not starting your energy acceleration onto that Pokemon until you get the V-Union onto your bench. So you actually have to go through all those steps, discard all the cards to even pull it out, and then you get to start attaching energy to it in order to actually charge it up to do its moves. This is a night and day difference from super bulky, extremely powerful Tag Team GXs or regular GX Pokemon or Vs or VMAXs, because it is not a basic, it is a separate category in itself. It's not an evolution Pokemon either. It's parts of a Pokemon that you Frankenstein together, which still honestly really weirds me out. I'm not gonna lie. It's creepy to say, okay? I don't like pieces of Pokemon and then sewing them up together. No. Oh. Anyway, the dynamic of V-Union Pokemon is completely different, and it adds balance to the game. We're going to not see super quick games where if you don't get your energy attachment for 1 turn, or if you have a dead hand for a single turn or 2 turns, or whoever gets set up faster is the auto winner. That is not going to be the case if this was the choice of cards. Like if you want an extremely powerful, extremely bulky Pokemon that has all these different dynamics to it, you're going to have to work to get there. And meanwhile, you could be playing with an opponent that instead of playing a V-Union deck is playing an evolution deck, and maybe now evolution decks sort of possibly have a chance because maybe they can set up a little bit faster than a V-Union can and start wrecking bros. You know what I mean? Because it's not possible for you to only play V-Union cards as your Pokemon. You always have to start your game with a basic Pokemon. So you're going to have a deck that has other Pokemon in it, whether that's Vs, VMAXs, V-Unions, 1-prizers as well, support Pokemon, all of that. So you're sort of having to build your deck around a V-Union and around the supporting Pokemon and alternate attackers for that V-Union, but it's taking up a lot more space in your deck than, say, a Tag Team GX would or a V and VMAX line of Pokemon would. And some of these cards that they previewed, and Pokemon is known for not just pulling out its trap card right away. They preview something to kind of gauge how people are feeling about it, to give you a little inside look, but these, I do not believe, are going to be the biggest, bulkiest, and best Pokemon V-Union cards. I think these are just release kind of teaser cards. I think we're actually going to get V-Unions that have way more interesting moves and cooler dynamics to them, which I'm really excited to see. So, but that's just my personal guess, personal opinion. But even that being said, you still have stuff like the Greninja move that hits everything on your opponent's board for 100 damage. And that's not like you can't use this next turn or you have to switch out in order to use this. You can use it consistently. And that's absolutely insane. You could potentially take multiple prize cards off of your opponent in 1 single turn to win the game. That would destroy an evolution deck if it can get set up properly and just knock everything out. Now, even though the Pokemon that have been revealed have extremely powerful moves, extremely powerful abilities, I do not think we can judge how this is going to change the meta, if it's going to be heavily played, if it's just a gimmick, until we see the support that is released for these cards in tandem with V-Union cards. From what it looks like now, I don't think these are going to replace Vs and VMAXs. I think this is going to pair together and blend with Vs and VMAXs. So you're going to have V Pokemon, VMAXs, and V-Unions as well. So they're going to be in the same format together. And as it stands right now, it makes absolutely no sense for you to be playing V-Unions over VMAXs. We have way too many powerful VMAXs that are easier to set up, much easier to get out. Yes, they do require one evolution, but that is way faster than getting a V-Union set up, like way, way, way faster. So we're not really going to know how much Pokemon is going to invest into this new mechanic or how heavy they're going to go into it until we start seeing the supporters that roll out for the V-Union mechanic. Now, they already did reveal Professor Burnette, which, by the way, probably one of my favorite characters. I don't know why, I just love Professor Burnette quite a bit. I wish she was my mom. Just saying. But anyway, this card lets you search your deck and discard 2 cards from your deck. So you would be searching your deck for 2 pieces of your V-Union Pokemon and discarding them to accelerate your process of getting your V-Union out onto your bench. So that is only one single card they have revealed for V-Union support. I saw many people bring up that it's kind of likely they will also make something like Beast Ball. Beast Ball was for Ultra Beast Pokemon, and it allowed you to get your Ultra Beast Pokemon out of your prize cards if they were prized. So you looked at your prize cards, retrieved an Ultra Beast, put it into your hand, and then switched your prize card with the Ultra Beast Ball. So that, I think, is also pretty likely to come out for V-Unions because you can't play multiple pieces or multiple V-Unions in one deck. You can only have 4 pieces, and if one of those pieces is prized, your V-Union's useless. You can't really use it until you get that piece out of the prize cards. So it makes 100% sense, to me at least, if they have a Beast Ball, but for V-Unions that searches out a V-Union piece from your prize cards. So there is a lot of potential in the supporter cards they could come out with that would accelerate V-Unions and make them a little bit faster. Also, the other thing contributing to the acceleration of these V-Union Pokemon from just what we've seen, so we have Greninja, which is water, Zacian, which is metal, and Mew psychic. All of these Pokemon have the potential to be partnered with energy acceleration Pokemon. So water, we have Frostmoth that accelerates energy, Metal Saucer trainer cards for metal as well, and Bronzong as well. Both very, very critical to energy movement and acceleration for metal decks. And then, of course, Psychic has Calyrex. So all of these V-Union cards do have the potential to blend with other cards to be able to accelerate energy, so it is possible, completely possible, for you to get a V-Union out and be attacking with that V-Union that turn, depending on what support you have for energy acceleration. So it's not like you're just hard attaching every single energy and it's going to take 20 years for you to actually attack with a V-Union. At least that's the ideal. If you bring out a V-Union after all those steps and then you're not able to actually do anything with it, but you have to think, for every supporter card required in executing this one V-Union Pokemon, that's more spaces in your deck that you're taking up and less time you have to actually start taking knockouts and winning the game. So if your opponent has a faster, more streamlined deck than you, they will still be winning over you, which comes to the whole conclusion that, again, why would you be playing V-Unions over V-Maxes? We have not seen the reason for this yet, so it could be possible there's not a lot of support sunken into V-Unions from Pokemon, and people just main V-Maxes. But personally, this is such a huge, like, really weird sort of dynamic to throw into the game. So I don't see Pokemon just like throwing this out there and then kind of leaving it out there to dry, if that makes sense. I think they're going to invest into V-Union a little bit more. Many people also brought up Spiritomb from Chilling Reign that shuffles Pokemon back into your deck from your discard pile. And people are like, oh, well, just this will be for V-Unions. It'll just shuffle them all back in. But we also have to think, like, does V-Union count as a Pokemon? Like a specific Pokemon, if it's like pieces of a Pokemon? I don't understand. Like, we don't really know if it's gonna work with that. And then also on top of that, the V-Union mechanic, it doesn't really seem like you're gonna be maining 3 pieces of a Pokemon in your discard pile and then like never getting the 4th piece. If anything, the supporter, which grabs 2, you would be getting it in chunks of 2 and then 4, which would complete it and put it on your bench. And you'd be doing all of this on your turn as well. I don't know. So the Spiritom's weird to me. I don't think it would really honestly be that effective against V-Union because you're never just going to be playing V-Union. You're also going to have other cards. So they would just be like, okay, fine. If you're going to shuffle my stuff up, I'm just going to charge up this Pokemon while you waste your time, you know? Another card to think about is Path to Peak. Path to Peak gets rid of abilities of any Pokemon with a rule box. So, V-Union have a rule box. So all of its abilities, even if it has 3 or 4 abilities, they're gonna have no abilities. So you build up this Pokemon, you're getting ready to use it, and then you lose all the abilities on it, and then you just have 4 attacks to choose from, which again is still very good. It's very cool to have that variation there, but you would lose all your abilities, which is like, ah. Another thought that I had is there might be a deck somewhere down the line or in the future that VMAX Pokemon cannot attack. And it's going to be really hard to get out of that, get out of, you know, not being able to attack. So maybe there's something in the future that VMAXs cannot attack, but V-Union Pokemon can attack. So maybe they're planning, you know, all these things down the line to balance, you know, evolution decks with V-Unions, with VMAXs as well, all together in perfect harmony. All right, everybody, thank you so much for coming to this video. Those are my overall opinions, thoughts, views on V-Union. Hopefully I didn't leave anything out. If I did, I'll just put it below. But I would love to hear your thoughts on V-Unions. I think they're super cool. I think they could definitely balance and keep the game healthy. I think they're going to add a lot of creativity to deck building potentially as well. I'm just waiting to see the support that is put behind the Pokemon with supporter cards, item cards, tool cards. Until then, I don't want to write this off as a gimmick. I don't want to take it too seriously as well because it's very silly looking. But we'll see where it goes. Who knows? Maybe this is Pokemon's elaborate scheme to announce their jumbo playmat line that costs more and get everyone to buy larger size playmats because everybody's gonna be playing V-Unions. Who knows? We've been speculating and worried about what V-Union cards are going to be since it was announced that Pokemon officially trademarked V-Union as a term for the Pokemon TCG. And that leaves me with one question here today. What in the world is VMAX Climax? I'll see you later, everybody. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in the next video. I appreciate all my patrons. I love you so much. And I'll catch you guys later.